The Terran envoy hung in orbit above Val Aaris 7, a lush, jungle world recently discovered on the outer rim of explored space. Elena Martinez adjusted her scanner as she stepped through the bioluminescent undergrowth, her boots sinking slightly into the moss-covered ground. She was the expedition's xenobiologist, and this planet was a treasure trove of undiscovered species. The Galactic Council had sent observers. Of course, they always did when humans found new worlds. The Kvalesh representative, a towering insectoid named Thrix, had made it abundantly clear that humans were too emotionally volatile to be trusted with first contact protocols. Elena had smiled politely and continued her work. Knowing that her findings would speak louder than their prejudices, she knelt beside a cluster of crystalline flowers, taking readings, when she felt a tiny, deliberate tap on her back. Then another, and another, each one climbing higher up her navy blue hoodie. Elena froze, her hand instinctively moving toward the stunner at her hip. Val Aaris 7 had proven mostly benign so far, but caution was always warranted. She slowly turned her head and caught a glimpse of something small and fuzzy scaling her back like a mountaineer ascending Everest. The creature reached her shoulder and poked its head around to stare directly into her face. Elena's breath caught. It was no bigger than her palm, covered in soft amber fur that rippled with iridescent patterns. Two oversized eyes, liquid gold with slit pupils, blinked at her with what could only be described as hopeful expectation. Tiny triangular ears swiveled forward, and a miniature tail, striped in darker browns, wrapped partially around her collar for balance. "Oh," Elena whispered, afraid any sudden movement might startle it. The creature, which her scientific mind immediately catalogued as potentially feline but distinctly alien, chirped. The sound was musical, layered with harmonics that seemed to resonate with something deep in Elena's chest. It then proceeded to pad across her shoulder, testing the fabric of her hoodie with tiny, careful claws before settling into the hood itself. Within seconds, it had curled into a perfect circle and appeared to be falling asleep. Elena remained motionless for a full minute, processing what had just happened. Then, her comm unit crackled to life. "Martinez, report your status." Thrix's clicking voice demanded. "You've been stationary for 4 minutes. Is there a problem?" Elena touched her comm carefully, trying not to disturb her passenger. "No problem, Thrix. I've just encountered a new species. Small, mammalian adjacent. Appears to be a juvenile. It's currently napping in my hood." There was a long pause. This is precisely the kind of undisciplined behavior the Council warned about. Allowing an unscanned alien organism into direct physical contact is... It weighs maybe 200 grams, Elena interrupted, her voice firm but patient. My suit's biosensors show no pathogens, no toxins, no threats. I'm running a full scan now. She was, in fact, using her handheld scanner to gather data on her tiny stowaway. The readings were fascinating: elevated body temperature, suggesting a high metabolism, brain-to-body ratio that indicated surprising intelligence, and chemical signatures in its fur that seemed to have mild calming properties. Besides, Elena added, unable to suppress a smile, it chose me. That suggests a level of social intelligence worth studying. Before Thrix could respond, Elena heard rustling in the nearby vegetation. 3 more small shapes emerged from the undergrowth, each one nearly identical to the first but with slight variations in coloring. They chirped in chorus that same harmonic sound and began climbing. One scaled her leg with impressive agility. Another used a fallen log as a launching point to reach her waist. The third took a more direct approach, chirping insistently until Elena lowered her hand, allowing it to climb aboard like a tiny, furry elevator. Within moments, Elena had 4 of the creatures adorning her like living ornaments. 2 had claimed her hood as prime napping real estate, curling around each other with contented purrs. One draped across her shoulder, its tail dangling down her chest. The 4th perched on top of her head, grooming itself with miniature paws. "Martinez!" Thrix's voice had risen to a high-pitched clicking. Your vital signs show... Are you being attacked? No, Elena laughed, the sound startling a nearby flock of something that looked like flying ribbons. My heart rate's elevated because this is possibly the most adorable thing I've ever experienced. Thrix, I think I've discovered why humans were meant to explore space. Explain. Elena gently stroked the creature on her shoulder. It immediately leaned into her touch, purring louder. Because some species out here need someone to care. These little ones. I'm calling them cubcats for now. They're social. Trusting. On a world this dangerous, that's a survival strategy. They must have learned to seek out larger creatures for protection. She started walking again, carefully navigating the terrain while her passengers dozed peacefully. And humans? We're hardwired to respond to cute. It's not a weakness, Thrix. It's a strength. It means we see potential allies instead of just threats or resources. The creature on her head, she decided to call it Kiro, chittered softly and adjusted its position, tiny claws gentle against her scalp. The sensation was oddly soothing. Over the next hour, Elena documented everything about the cubcats while they napped, played, and explored her equipment with curious paws. She discovered they were highly intelligent, capable of solving simple puzzles she created with her tools. They communicated through a complex series of chirps, purrs, and harmonic songs. And most remarkably, they seemed to instinctively understand emotional states, offering comfort when she felt frustrated or nuzzling close when she was focused. When Captain Rodriguez called for expedition recall, Elena faced a dilemma. The cubcats had been with her for hours now, and the thought of simply leaving them felt wrong. They've imprinted on you, Dr. Yuna Kim observed over the comm, her voice amused. Classic behavior for species, with extended juvenile periods. You've become, essentially, their adopted parent. The council will never approve transport, Elena murmured, watching Kiro playfully bat at her scanner's holographic display. Let me worry about the council, Rodriguez replied. Bring them aboard. We'll quarantine properly, run full medical workups. But Martinez, if these creatures chose humans for companionship, who are we to refuse? That's what first contact is supposed to be. Connection, not just observation. As Elena made her way back to the shuttle, the cubcats, secure in a makeshift carrier she'd fashioned from her jacket, she thought about humanity's place in the galaxy. The Galactic Council feared human emotion, human unpredictability. They saw it as primitive. But watching Kiro and its siblings peer out at the world with trusting eyes, Elena understood something profound. Humanity's capacity for compassion, for forming bonds across species barriers, for seeing beyond mere utility to genuine connection that wasn't a weakness to overcome. It was exactly what the universe needed. The tiny claw tapping her back hadn't been a threat or a test. It had been an invitation. And Elena, like any human worth their place among the stars, had answered with an open heart.